Welcome to the Capitalist Sage podcast. We're here to bring you advice and tips from seasoned pros and experts to help you improve your business. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors, and my co-host is Rico Figliolini with Mighty Rockets Digital Marketing and the publisher of the Peachtree Corner magazine. Hey, Rico, how you doing today?
Good, Carl. Good to be here. I can't
Excellent.
wait to talk to our latest guest, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to talk to another brilliant young entrepreneur that's
Yeah.
here local. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the sponsors for today, Rico?
Sure. So Peachtree Corners Magazine is a sponsor of this episode, as well as the family of podcasts that we do. And you can find out more information about the latest issue at livinginpeachtreecorners.com.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today our guest is Leroy Hite, is the founder and CEO of Cutting Edge Firewood and a local small business owner who provides premium firewood to their customers. Hey, Leroy, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for having me on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've got so many great things happening here in Georgia and locally here in Metro Atlanta and Peachtree Corners. Not only do we have technology companies growing, we have large corporations moving into Peachtree Corners and the surrounding areas. We have entrepreneurs like yourself that are just innovating on industries and doing some really fun things with the kind of. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company? What do you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So first I'll give kind of like the vision for the business and I'll play in with the products. So I back in 2013 started the business. Long story, but with the vision of both cooking wood and firewood. A fire is like a beautiful sunset. It's universal, it's primal, and it's unifying. There's literally no one on planet Earth that doesn't enjoy a wonderful fire. Whether you have a 95-year-old man from Ethiopia or a 3-year-old girl from Georgia, they will sit in front of a fire and enjoy it. After a stressful day, I can take a glass of just a shot of whiskey and sip it for a couple hours in front of a fire, and it's amazing how much less stress I have afterwards than when I started. My wife can come out and it's romantic. We can have our 3 daughters out for s'mores, and they love it, and they create memories that they remember for the rest of their lives. Teenagers will put their phones down and talk to their parents. I can have a few of my buddies over and we talk about deep things that guys don't usually talk about, and it can be at the center of a wedding party, and I can cook amazing food over wood to the point that I don't even really like going out to fancy restaurants because I can cook it better at home. And so you have that on one side, and then on the other side, before we got in the industry standard was wood would sit outside on the ground for 12 months, rot, and literally have mushrooms growing out of it. And the business strategy, the branding, and the customer service match the product quality. And so that's what really drew me into it, that and the fact that it's an experience. And I love offering others wonderful experiences. That's what drives me. And so what we offer is the firewood, of course. We have boxes that we in Metro Atlanta, in Metro Nashville, Dallas, and Seattle currently. We offer same-day delivery for the boxes of firewood. The boxes come with enough for 2 to 4 small, fantastic fireside experiences, and they come with kindling, fire starters, and a box of matches. We also ship those around the country. And then we have our patented airbrush metal racks that we offer in our delivery artisan areas. And those areas are Metro Atlanta, Chattanooga, Greenville, South Carolina, Charlotte, and Nashville. And with those, our delivery artisans bring the rack to your home, and all of our firewood goes through a special process that makes it bug-free, burn hotter, longer, start easier. And so we will put that rack essentially anywhere that you want it. And then when you reorder, we take the empty rack and replace it with a full one. And then we do cooking wood that we ship around the country for all different ways of cooking over wood, whether it's a pizza oven or a big green egg. You can use our chunks or splits and a bunch of other different smokers and grills. So
Wow.
that's the quick. Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah, and
so
I
it's
just
interesting.
got a delivery of that, by the way, and I got to say I haven't burned the wood yet, but just the smell of it, just the scent of that wood. I forget which two that I got, but the two different flavors, if you will, just
Mhm.
unbelievable to be able to just to be in the room just smelling that wood before he even gets burned.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm curious. You went into an industry, and I love
Mhm.
that you picked firewood, because if you were to think of a commodity that anything could be,
Mhm.
firewood is it. Nobody gives a lot of thought if they walk into, whether it's a Home Depot or somewhere else, to buy firewood, what brand it is, who it is, and so on. What made you pick this industry and firewood in particular to focus on? And what are some of the key elements of your strategy to differentiate it?
It's a great question. So, I love the experience aspect of it, and I love that it's something that nobody else has really treated it like a business, much less a modern business with a lot of opportunity. And that's what drew me into it is the experience aspect, and that in business, if you see everyone going in the same direction, a lot of times the opportunity is going the opposite direction. And so that really got me initially interested, and I knew that there was something here. And what's really differentiated us is that we're the devil's in the details is a great saying, and that there's a lot of truth in it. And that is, from the beginning to the end, we pay attention to every detail. So our branding, I wanted to shock people that a firewood company would have branding as good as ours. When they order on our website, we want that to go smoothly and be a great experience. When you call in and talk to somebody, you talk to somebody that's very professional, very knowledgeable. Um, all of our employees are wonderful and go through a lot of training and are really bought in and love taking care of customers. And then when the package arrives, whether it's a delivery artisan delivering it, you're blown away with how we do it. And then you actually use the product, and that sets us apart, because you don't have wood that's just sizzling or that's bug infested, or if you're cooking over it, you're not cooking over something that has mold and mildew. Every single product that we put out, kind of an internal saying is we have a lot of famous people. For example, Terry Bradshaw is a really good customer, to name one that's publicly endorsed us. And so we kind of treat every single customer like they're Terry Bradshaw. And we treat when we go, so when Terry Bradshaw orders, we don't pick out specially wood just for Terry Bradshaw. I don't go and make sure that everything's perfect. He's treated like every other customer, which is like Terry Bradshaw, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then we actually write a handwritten note to every customer thanking them for their purchase, which of course is something that sets us apart from almost anybody in any industry. And that's another thing is we don't really, when people order from us, initially their standards are really low, but our goal is to just blow their standards out of the water and set ourselves a high bar to follow through on the second time that they order. So we don't want to rest on our laurels and be happy with the low standards. So really, we want to be innovative and have and offer a phenomenal experience and have phenomenal customer service, not just for firewood, but for any industry.
Oh, I love it. Some of the things you're doing seems pretty obvious that people should do in their business, and people may have a different perception of what great looks like or what good looks like in there.
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you were trying to implement to get to where you are today? What were things you didn't expect to happen? What were more challenging to do than you might have first thought?
Oh, everything.
Uh,
So that's the other side of traveling the path less traveled, making your own trail, whatever you want to, however you want to put it. Um, is everything that we do, because we're innovative, we kind of have to learn things the hard way. So we'll try something out and I'll think it's ingenious and we'll fall flat on our face. And I mean, there's been times where we've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on trying something out because I thought it was going great. And it wasn't.
Hmm.
And so we've gone into like trying to sell to different B2B markets, and I thought they were really great, innovative ideas, and we push it really hard, and it just doesn't work at all. And so we've really found that direct to consumer, direct to B to C is our sweet spot, and so
If I
were
could
were
follow
you
up on
trying
that.
to like? Sorry.
No, go ahead,
yeah.
Rico.
I
So
was
what
going to
we
say,
were trying,
yeah, what
no,
were you
sorry, what
specifically trying to do? Was it white labeling B2B? Was it what
it,
specifically was the point?
yeah, great question. Yeah, we actually did try to white label, and this is back in I think 2015. Um, um, Story. Probably don't have time for this podcast, but it's pretty interesting, long story with lots of risks. But one time back in 2015, we actually tried to sell some bundled firewood to stores,
Hmm.
and bought some equipment, and it ended up actually being the warmest winter on record, and
Oh
so
wow.
they couldn't get rid of their wood.
Wow.
And but the more recent example that's from like 2019 is we did a big push to sell to restaurants,
Mm.
and in restaurants the pricing is very competitive because restaurants margins, they don't have a whole lot of margin, and
Mm.
so the idea was we would offer them the racks at competitive pricing, but in exchange for us offering them a higher quality wood, for competitive pricing, they would put the racks in their dining room. And
Mm.
so we wanted high-end restaurants to have to the customers to see our racks, and then help improve brand awareness.
Mhm.
And basically, as prices started going up, it started eating into our profits, and so it started costing us a lot of money. And and a lot of the restaurants wanted us to bend over backwards for them when we were losing money, and so we had to
Wow.
pull out of that. But it's interesting because at the same time, we started, putting out yard signs and that year, and that's when everybody kind of started to know who we were, because of the yard signs.
I
And
think
But
that's Go ahead.
no, I was going
but
to
you
say
weren't afraid to innovate. You weren't afraid to try things and pull back from it.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
there's an interesting thing that you said in that story as you were sharing that example that I think is a key point. You try stuff, and if you're going to blaze a new path and innovate,
Mhm.
you got to try things and take
Yep.
a risk.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But you were somehow able to know that it wasn't getting the desired outcome and
Hmm.
profitability.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about how did you know? How do you measure success? You mentioned that you saw the profitability. What does it look like when you're managing the bottom line of your business so you know when to end a certain path so you can move in a different?
Measuring is super important. It's funny because I most definitely learn more about that every year because I'm more of a if you've ever read the book Rocket Fuel, it talks about integrators and
Mhm.
visionaries. I'm definitely more of the visionary style, so I am definitely more, or sorry, I'm definitely less risk adverse than some others.
Mhm.
But so I like pushing the envelope, even when it comes back to bite me sometimes. But it's extremely important to measure everything that's important. So how we knew that it was or wasn't what was and wasn't working that year is it was just simply every time a customer would call in, we would ask them how did they hear about us. So and we would keep up with it in our CRM. And so generally we just knew a percentage of where all of our new customers came from. So we knew that we weren't getting anywhere near as many new customers from the restaurants as we wanted, whereas the yard signs were working phenomenally. Same thing. We tried putting up some billboards that same year, and we weren't getting the return. Um, Now, this year, after the growth in 2020, and this year, we're going. Our systems are becoming a lot more complex, and I brought on a really high level team that's going to help us grow into the business into the next area. And they are really good about measuring everything and sending me the information. So
I also noticed that you guys expanded just recently. I think it was in September. It went from
yeah,
10,000 to 40,000 square feet in
that's
Peachtree Corners.
correct. Yep, that's correct.
That's
So our warehouse is looking pretty impressive. It's a lot of fun actually just to walk around there, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. If,
that's
if,
cool.
if you if you think about it, though, you're hitting on another key insight and learning along this journey. Is there's a point of when, in order to scale,
Mhm,
you got to surround yourself and build a team where different people have different areas of expertise and specialty, and let
mhm,
them do that very well. So you are like many of the classic entrepreneurs who have vision and willing to take risk. And then there's those often they'll find people to support them that are good in the details of the execution and the numbers, and
mhm,
that balance. It is sometimes found in one person, sometimes it's found in many. The key
mhm.
thing for your business is that you figured out how to bring that together to help
Yep.
you continue to be successful and scale the business.
Yeah, it's all about it's crazy because they're looking back on it, just there's so much trial and error, and there's many different ways that you can look at it as far as setting yourself apart. One of those though is just as much as possible the painful side is learning how to make that pain less painful each time you try out something new. And it's so like an example in marketing is you try out we tried out a company where we did an influencer campaign, and we spent $40,000 on it in the spring, and I thought it was a really good idea. Um, and we just got a fraction back in revenue that we spent on it, and so the answer is like, okay, we're not doing that again. And so we
Mm.
learned our lesson. It hurt, but we learned our lesson. We now will go on to budget, and we'll go on to trying out the next thing within our budget, and hopefully the next thing works.
Was
Abs-
it because the influencer campaign didn't extend far enough that you didn't get enough influences on it? I mean,
I
sometimes those
think
things happen too,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think it was the particular audience. So it
Mm.
was, I guess to get more detailed, it was influencers that cooked over wood, which you would think would be
Yeah,
exactly who we need to get. But
right.
we have a very particular demographic within the cooking wood um, industry or
Hmm.
world that we're targeting, and so I think the people the cooks, the chefs that we got, I don't think they targeted enough of our particular audience.
Got it. As you think
Interesting.
into the future and growth,
Yep.
what white space areas out there or growth strategies do
Mhm.
you think you'd like to explore next that you haven't started to?
Yeah, that's as the chief visionary, I spend a lot of time on that, maybe too much time. Um, it is so our delivery artisan service is it's kind of it's very slow moving, it's very capital intensive because we hire very high level employees to take care of our customers, and we have to buy trucks and equipment and the metal racks up front, and of course the firewood. But it's very there's not anything else out there in any industry that's quite like it. So I think that's something that's going to continue to grow at a healthy level. But I do see our boxes of firewood same day rapidly growing around the country in other cities, along with us shipping our cooking wood, whether it's for the pizza ovens or for Big Green Egg or Kamado Joe, ceramic grills or other kind of smokers. I think that kind of stuff is going to grow really quickly, and we'll use that to continue to grow the delivery artisan service. And the great thing is they all work together really, really well because then we can move the delivery artisan service into the markets as quickly as we want to.
I love that approach. I know I work with a lot of business folks that are looking to grow, and one of the options they look is a franchise approach to doing
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yep.
Very successful. It's exploded all over the world. Franchise growth and so on has its pros and has its cons, of course, as an approach.
Mm-hmm.
One of
Yep.
the areas is around this service experience. When you grow organically yourself, you have better control over the service
Mm-hmm.
level expectations, how you
Mm-hmm.
hire, how you recruit people, in that.
Yep.
If you go through franchise, you hope that those local owners, will follow it, put things in place, the tools in place, but
Yep.
that can vary from group to group. What are some of the things that you've been successful at implementing to drive this service-based culture that you've been able to create and drive as part of your brand?
Yeah, first and foremost is hiring the right people. And we have a set of core values that we really drive home. And it's not just something we write up on the wall and point to once a year or twice a year. It's something that essentially every meeting we drive home. It's how we grade our people is against these core values. And we say the most important one is the customer experiences. And it's every single person in the company strongly affects the customer experience. If a customer calls in and they have a bad experience, it'll ruin the whole thing. If a delivery artisan goes out who's the face of the company um, and and is rude, that messes up everything. If somebody that is processing the firewood and going through it and sifting through and making sure and quality control, and they let something wood that's not up to par, that'll definitely ruin the entire experience. And so everybody plays a part, and so that is one of our unifying core values, is that everybody is driving towards that, driving the customer experience. And then the next is putting the procedures and processes in place, which honestly is definitely one of my weaknesses, but why it's very important to surround yourself with others that have strengths where you have weaknesses, to put all these processes in place that protect against mistakes getting made.
It's very interesting around that service thing. It's something that we strive to reinforce in our team and our business. We're service based business as well, and
Mm-hmm.
you articulated, I think, exactly our three pillars. One is in the people, and we think of it in training and an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You could train people on skills, but attitude sometimes it's kind of who the person is. So
Yep.
when we look to select team members, we're looking for the right values and attitude that aligns with a drive toward the customer. arming them with the skills to deliver good service value, how to respond to people, how to listen. The second one was around systems. We put in systems, make it CRM, different
Mm-hmm.
tools to make people be able to deliver good service well. We
Mm-hmm.
learn about our customers, so when they call in, we know what they came in for. We could help each other cross. But that third element that you started with is the people, the values piece.
Yep.
And when you think about values, we set goals to it and we measure it. We measure service. We measure individually how people are performing the service and others. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of small business owners don't get around to focusing on as much.
Mm-hmm.
But you could start at any level, getting the right people,
Yep.
putting in the right systems, and measuring the behaviors and outcomes that you want. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good starting point. You got experts out there that can help you with exactly what to do in each one of these
Right.
phases, but
Yep.
but you've landed in that same place.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of our other core values is team, which is um, everybody working together as a team, having the right people, having the right team, and it's funny because that having the right people is what makes for me a place to be is fun and fulfilling is having the right people and everybody together going after the same goals and it yeah no that gets me excited.
No, absolutely. Well, I'm curious. We're coming into the holiday seasons now.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes, sir.
what is it like in your world during the holiday season? What type of stuff do you have coming up, and do you practically focus on in this part of the year?
Yes, so this time of the year is definitely our busy season. This is our make it or break it part of the season. Of course, we sell the cooking wood and we sell the firewood year round. And the cooking wood is less seasonal, and a lot of people cook outside in the spring, but um, everybody buys both cooking wood. Definitely, the firewood peaks in October, November, and December, but people like to buy the cooking wood for gifts for the holidays, and so it all comes together right now.
Ah,
so we so we're driving and pushing hard, and 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 we've I guess really kind of like the newest thing is we're really pushing on the cooking wood because it's a newer thing for us, and just like the firewood, it's just as big of a difference. And for me, I another thing is I only like to do things that kind of really set us apart from anybody else. And that's why we got into the cooking wood, is because it goes so well with the firewood, but it's also something that we're able to do better than anybody else.
It's
can I
probably
ask
also less seasonal too, I would imagine. I mean, if I'm out there
Yes.
cooking, even during the summer, doing a green
Hmm.
egg
Yep.
barbecue, or there's those new there's a Georgia company that manufactures them too, where it's a flat metal grill, if you will. On the
Hmm.
inside is where you burn the wood, which
Hmm.
is kind of a great party type thing
Hmm.
because you could put that meat all around, and everyone can
Hmm.
stand there and cook their own
You,
and just
yeah, you're probably talking about gather grills or the kudu
yes,
grill.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm curious for those of us that may not be as have the expertise in grilling and cooking
yep.
with wood.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
can you share with us just some of the examples? I'm assuming any of this can't be used in cooking in your kitchen, or are there ways that you could utilize this wood if you're cooking indoors, first of all,
Yep.
and then second, outdoor cooking. If you're
Hmm.
grilling, if you have a gas grill versus other types, do you have ways for people to bridge some of those gaps when they're cooking?
Yeah, great question. Inside is a bit more difficult. You have to have a lot of specialized equipment to cook with it inside because you have to have something that draws out the smoke. We do have customers that have indoor equipment and ovens. Particularly, usually it's like a pizza oven.
Commercial, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that they put even in their residents. But outside so you can buy things. It's just really just a little metal thing that will hold a chunk, or a couple of chunks, or a single split in your gas grill to get that wood flavor. It really is pretty simple. It's not that complicated. It's funny. In March, I've been married for 14 years. And my wife and I first got married, I got a charcoal grill, burnt really bad, a couple of burgers, and threw the grill away. And then when we started getting into the cooking wood, I thought, you know what? I probably should know what I'm talking about. So I brought a grill home and started experimenting with it. And people were giving me compliments within the first couple of weeks of cooking over wood, is because most people, it's quickly growing in popularity, but it's still at its infancy. And it's amazing, good quality wood, how much flavor that adds to the food. And it's not an exact science. It's a little bit more of an art. And of course, it takes practice. And then when you get down to the science after a couple of years, you do fine tune it. But it takes a little bit of practice. And you can use charcoal and in your grill and use that as a heat source. And then just right before you put the food on, don't soak the chunks or the splits. Just put on a couple right before you put the food on, and then you cook it as usual, and it'll add a lot of the wood flavor. Or you can get to where you master it and you cook with all wood. But it's really not that complicated. And if you just play around with it, you'll have, within a few cooks, you'll be making food that's enjoyable and you can taste. And it's really, you look at it as it just a different ingredient, because it's just a different flavor you can put into the food.
Well, I can imagine.
Here's that Gather grill, by the way, that we were talking about before. An example from your Facebook page, actually.
Yep.
So
perfect. Yeah, with the big green egg in the back.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the exciting things as we're getting into the holiday season after this past, 18 months, people have morphed outdoors. I remember last Thanksgiving, many people hosting Thanksgiving feasts outside in various forms. And of course, Leroy, your firewood would be a perfect addition for people to bring in, not only for comfort, but also adding into how they cook. If someone wanted to reach you and find out more about your business and place an order for a gift or anything else, what's the best way to reach you?
Best way is our website at cuttingedgefirewood.com. And if you want to reach out to me personally, LinkedIn is the best place to send me to get connected.
Okay, excellent. Do you do gift certificates or anything?
We sure do.
Gifts. They could order.
We do gift certificates, and then obviously a box of firewood is a phenomenal gift. And we do gift notes, whether it's for a rack or for a box. And then if you're wanting to give a gift to somebody for cooking wood, of course, if it's for a pizza oven, then get our pizza cut. But if they have a big green egg, we have variety packs for the splits and the chunks. So there's a lot of different options.
Oh, excellent. Cool. Well, I want to thank you, Leroy, and reintroduce you to everybody that might be joining in later on. Leroy Hite is the founder and CEO of Cutting Edge Firewood, a local business. Where's your warehouse location at?
Warehouse location is off of Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, between Jimmy Carter and Winter's Chapel, real close to Jimmy Carter. And it's on Google Maps, so you can just look up Cutting Edge Firewood on your.
A local business here in Gwinnett County that is doing great things, great example of blazing new trails. So I want to thank you for sharing some of your experience growing and developing this business to brand and driving this really service element into what others might have seen as a commodity thing, and really building a real premium brand around that. So we will continue to wish you success in doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
You're welcome. Well, I would like
Hang
to
in there
thank.
with us. Huh?
Yep. Wanted to also introduce myself, Carl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors of Atlanta Peachtree. Our business advisors are available to consult with your business, whether you're looking to improve and grow it, whether you're looking to exit one day your business. You can contact and schedule a consultation. We do valuation, exit planning, and when people are ready, we help them find buyers for their business. You can also reach us at www.tworld.com/Atlanta Peachtree. Rico, why don't you tell us a little bit about the many things you do? And I know
Sure.
we've got another edition of Peachtree Corner Magazine coming up soon.
Yes, it'll be the December January issue. We're working up some really great stories on that. Where I think one of the main features is the how people celebrate the holiday season. So that's one. The other one is about home-based businesses that are growing up in Peachtree Corners. People that are homemakers, if you will, where they're making products out of their basement or their home and selling it on Etsy and online and at festivals. So a couple of different good main features coming out, and that'll be the December or January issue. They can find the current issue, though, online at livinginpeachtreecorners.com. And if anyone is, beyond that, I do content marketing, video production, photography. So if you're looking for any of those services, you feel free to reach out to mightyrockets.com or check me out on LinkedIn, Rico Figliolini, Figliolini. You can't miss me on LinkedIn. So check that out too. But that's
Absolutely.
it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everyone joining us and listening to the Capitalist Sage podcast. We'll continue to bring you new episodes, and just want to appreciate all the guests that have joined us. And today, Leroy for sharing some of his experience around growing a business right here locally in the Peachtree Corner area.